So in this video I would like to explain the reason why we use electricity as part of our training in the first advanced programs. First we need to understand why we do that, because I think it's very important, and actually what are the outcomes of doing this kind of process, this kind of practice, because people think, oh, it's just about connecting myself to electricity, where can I get this machine, whatever it is. First of all, it's quite dangerous actually to attempt to do something such as playing with electricity if we don't know what we're doing. Especially it's not about the machine, it's about the practice, which involves, almost 1 hour practice, which involves the use of the machine, also some particular postures where we direct the energy in specific points of the body. But first of all, we have to understand that it is actually an advanced training. It means that already we need to have some things in place to avoid of creating imbalances in our body and ourselves that can lead actually to health problems. So we have to be very careful. And also I would like to encourage people who are researching in this kind of topic to understand that NEI Qi Gong is not about developing some silly superpowers. Those are just an external manifestation of an internal process which have achieved a certain level of mastery, but it's not about that. And actually be careful because it's better not to try something you don't know what real consequences might be in your life. So without further talking in this direction, what I would like to say is that this practice is called Dian Qi Gong, yangung, and it is a practice that belongs to Shifu Luo, one of the 2 Chinese teachers that belong to our schools, teachers of my teacher, Shifu Costantino Valente. And it is a practice that we do for 1 year after 18 months of preparatory practices with the basic programs, where we prepare body, mind, emotions, and the energetical aspect also to handle a process which is quite demanding. It is a fabulous practice which I personally love and hate for several reasons that I'm not going to explain. But it is a practice that really allows to speed up the process of gathering Jing in the Dantian. First of all, the Dantian needs to be there, so there's no point of thinking, oh, I go for the machine, whatever it is. Actually, with the preparatory programs, the Dian Qi and Dian Qi, we build the container, and that we strengthen the body with other practices. We create the right mind to be able to handle I work with electricity also, although that's just one part of the advanced programs, because it's just the first one. So the next one, actually, we don't use it anymore. It's just for accomplish a certain task. But before actually going into that practice, we train ourselves for 18 months. And these 9 programs can be done online. So you can go on my website and go on the box office and actually attend one of the monthly events that I do for each class. And eventually, when we are ready to go to the advanced program, that we do it in presence, actually in person, we learn this practice, which involves the yangung, which involves one personal practice, so one practice that we do to grow our Jing in the body and to unlock the channels from the Lao Gongs, so basically in the palms of our hands to the Dantian. And also we gather super fast this Jing, and I don't know exactly how many years will be required of serious and real practices to do the work that to achieve the outcome that we achieve in 1 year with this practice, because it's just unbelievable. It really speed up the process, and the energy aspect really becomes a big thing when we go into the advanced programs. But as I said, it's just something to accomplish a specific goal, which in this case is to acquire this raw form of energy into the lower dantian, which then later on with other practices gets refined into other forms of energy. Although we have to understand that the energy is one, we call it in different names just to identify different qualities of it. You hear about Jing, Qi, and Shen. We're just talking about a different aspect of the same thing, with different density, different qualities, and something that cannot be discussed this much, because what's the point? Well, I can be here saying lots of stupid stuff. This is something that only with a serious practice and When I mean serious practice, I mean something that works, and with the dedication, daily dedication applied to it, we can really find out for ourselves. This is what really change our life. Other things are just talks that can be entertaining. Many people talk about many nice intellectual stuff, and we are there, but listening doesn't actually change our life. So it's a good entertainment. We think that we are doing some kind of work, but eventually leads nowhere. So with this practice, actually, we gather this raw form of energy. And electricity was seen by Asian people, Chinese people, I don't know exactly who, practitioners, as something which has similar quality to the vital energy. That's why they understood that there was a possibility there of gathering something much quicker. They did some experiments, and after a while they come up with a system, with a particular way of working with it to actually go actually sometimes even very high in terms of voltage. You can even get to 220 volts and be connected for a while actually, and with no issues. Of course you get there progressively because the body needs to adapt itself to this kind of practice. But anyway, that's not the goal. Even with much lower voltages, you achieve the same, you achieve good result. And the other, let's say, technique that we teach with this practice is how to help someone else and to unlock the meridians by using and replenish ourselves with the electricity while we actually unlock the other person, so emit our vital energy and electricity in the other person to unlock certain blockages. The reason why electricity, you have to think it like this in one sense. Electricity, it's kind of, it's energy, right? It depends what you plug in the socket, you get different result. So if you plug a fan, you get wind, so movement of particles. If you plug a light, you get a bulb, you get light. If you plug a heater, you get warm, right? In the same way, the vital energy is like that, in the sense that it is about, and I don't have the personal experience actually that far to be detailed, but there's no point of being detailed about this, to explain you a bit better how it works. But basically it's the same thing. It's a let's say neutral energy that can be manifested in different way. This is how you see, the reason why you see in the videos those kind of different manifestations of warmth, of movement, of particles, of electricity, right? So I'm currently doing the Qi mission program, which is level 5 of the advanced programs. There is only one missing, and I've done my first Qi mission with the support of my teacher, the electricity one, kind of a manifestation. But you know, still working on it, and I think never is going to be an end to this. And most of all, which is something that I likely found out very quickly in the path, I understood that it was about something else. I've always been interested in spirituality since I was very young, and I went through different attempts, childish attempts at the beginning, and also other experiences such as from reading mystical books to exploring various kind of drugs when I was young, only with the purpose of messing up with my consciousness, to attending ayahuasca and peyote ceremonies, to becoming a Buddhist practitioner, following a teacher and taking all the responsibilities for it, to eventually becoming an NEI Qigong practitioner and then a teacher, an instructor. And actually after a few months that I was practicing NEI Qigong, something very important happened in terms of my recognition through the practice of the Dian Qi, which is the spiritual energy, which again sounds like I'm telling lots of interesting stories, but we're talking about something practical that we all experience when we have certain experiences in terms of this practice. And so luckily I recognized very quickly that the NEI Qigong wasn't about this show of superpowers, which I didn't even know existed when I started, because I started for other reasons. I really like my teachers, and I realized that I don't know how to use my body. That was the reason why I started. Nothing more than that. So luckily I had that perspective already in place from the basic when I was doing my basic programs years ago, and so now I see and explore the possibility connected to growing into more subtle, let's say, forms of connection with life and with the vital energy. And I think this for me is the real interesting point, although it's interesting also to do a little bit of show if it is needed, just to prove it to other people. Why not? But there's much more that we can achieve. So all the people that sometimes they get in touch with me or they comment on this YouTube channel saying, hey, how do I get this machine? Hey, how do this? It's just a stupid way of seeing this. And the other problem connected to this kind of approach is that unfortunately we are becoming lonely. We are not getting in touch with the teacher and establishing a relationship and growing by seeing how the person is, what he can do, experiencing things firsthand instead of imagining things. So things are become a bit sad and lonely and confused, because when we don't have somebody who has worked a bit more than us on a path that can lead us, we don't know where we're going, and we might spend lots of years actually without going anywhere, and we might even go in the wrong direction, creating health issues or some kind of problem. So better to be with the teacher when doing a certain work. Don't try to do things on your own.